In a future blighted by lawlessness and split infinitives, two desperados hail each other from across the lonely windswept reaches of the northern wastes. Theo, Hawkeye Bosenket, and Rob, Storm Shadow Cole combine forces to dispatch crosswords. Join us each week for their continuing struggle to vanquish anagrams and slay multiple worders. Two Across, a transatlantic podcast.
I'm Rob Cole, sitting in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
And I'm Theo Bosenket, sitting in London.
In your beanie hat.
In my beanie hat.
Well, I was going to ask when we were sitting in the green room what was going on. So what is going on? Why are you wearing a beanie?
So it's the middle of June. We're only a few days from the longest day of the year. And we are undergoing, I would say, February-like weather at the moment in the UK. It's cold, it's wet, it's windy, it's classically British. So yeah, that's why I'm here in my winter garb.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
How's it your side of the pond? Because you were in 30-degree heat last time we spoke.
We were, and we've dipped, and to be honest, I was really happy about that because being in a cast in 30-degree heat, for anyone who's experienced it, is not the most fun thing. So we came down, but sort of like low 20s, high teens, and now we're creeping back up. I think we're supposed to hit like 27 tomorrow, maybe 24 today. So
okay.
Yeah, we can get cool in June, but we don't usually get February weather, certainly not in June. So
I'm possibly being overdramatic calling it February weather. I mean, it's more like 13 degrees rather than 3 degrees. But it's still, for this time of year, you feel a little bit shortchanged.
Oh, I think immensely shortchanged. I think the Met Office is probably bombarded with calls right now.
Absolutely.
Angry customers.
Yeah, it's one thing about being a weather reporter. You are just the messenger. And nevertheless, can end up getting shot. There was a famous story here many years ago when I was a child of a weather forecaster called Michael Fish, who received a tip-off in the late 80s that there was going to be a hurricane overnight, and he read this tip-off out live on air and laughed it off. He said, "I don't think so. You rest easy, madam. There's no hurricane coming our way." And lo and behold, there was a hurricane, and it became this notorious storm that blew through the south of England and destroyed millions of trees and tore roofs off houses and all of that. So you've got to be careful in that line of work. Anyway, how is the arm? Is it healing up?
Yeah, slowly but surely. The swelling's come down, and I mean, I don't know what's happening underneath the cast. That's always the wild card. That comes off next week, maybe after our next recording. So, I mean, that initial come off and sort of first set of x-rays and how are things going, but I think there's some nasty scars sitting in there to be revealed and stuff. So it's probably like having plastic surgery, but in a negative way. You know, when you're like your nose is covered up or whatever favored body part has been worked on, and then you take the bandages off for the big reveal. Except in this case, I think it's going to be a sad reveal as opposed to a beautiful new nose.
Oh,
just to be a sort of limp, small and scarred appendage. But it's hiding underneath its shroud right now and not giving me as much problems as it could. So I'm not going to complain.
Talking of scarred appendages, sorry, this is an unfair link. But it did put me in mind of the fact that we signed off the last episode talking about D-Day, and we were recording it just before a storm blew up over here regarding our embattled Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, who, in the middle of an election campaign, inexplicably chose to leave the D-Day ceremony early, or rather he skipped the international part of the commemoration completely in order to hotfoot it back to the UK for a political interview. And needless to say, it didn't go down well with the great British public, and he has been castigated roundly by members of his own party, veterans of D-Day, and basically anyone with any common sense. So Yes, things are not looking great at time of talking for the Conservatives in our election campaign. Anyway, I just wanted to flag that up. So anyone who listened to our previous episode who was wondering why I hadn't mentioned the reaction to the D-Day commemorations was because we were recording it in the middle of them. So I didn't actually know that he was going to get in such hot water about it.
Well, he should. I mean, I think Sunak strikes me as the kind of person whose overriding desire in life is to please people and be liked. And I think he's probably the person that has a lot of trouble making decisions because he waffles between those objectives and like a squirrel caught in the headlights of a large vehicle. And I think that large vehicle is about to flatten him.
Yes, the opinion polls would certainly suggest he is about to get squashed by a large electoral vehicle, a battle bus, you could say. But ironically, the interview that he rushed back to the UK to do has now been broadcast and has got him into even more hot water because he gave this classic sort of politician's answer to a question about his he was trying to sort of pose as an everyman and say his parents had worked hard to get him where he is, and I understand struggle just like anyone else. So the interviewer asked him, so did you ever have to go without anything as a child? And he said, yeah, loads of stuff. And then couldn't think of a single example besides Sky TV. It's like, well, we had to live without Sky TV. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure that message is going to resonate with people who are currently really wrestling with the cost of living and having to choose between heating and eating. But nevertheless,
he tried. And as the late, great Martin Amis said, your struggle may be more significant, but of course mine is happening to me.
Yes, that exactly sums it up.
You know, those in the red or blue or purple wall, maybe we can call it in North England, maybe they just need to put themselves in Sunak's shoes, in Sunak's loafers, as it were, and consider his plight.
Yes. Sunak's, he is an interesting man. He's one of those political figures that you don't really understand why he's in politics at all. He doesn't really seem to stand for anything beyond sort of sound economic management, and he can't actually do that terribly well. So you sort of think, well, what is this beyond just a kind of egotistical career move? But maybe that is all it is, and maybe that's the problem with our politics. But let's not depress ourselves too much. I'm sure we'll talk about the election many more times over the coming few weeks, so maybe let's park it for now.
And the even more interesting decision by Emmanuel Macron to dissolve the assembly, and in his great fight against the rise of the right. So that's another topic that I think we'll probably stray into. But I believe today, for listeners who are not privy to everything that happens in the green room, we are undergoing a bit of technical difficulties, which is pushing us up against Theo's need to go and collect his children from school. And so I suggest that we dive right into Guardian Quick Crossword number 16,880 and see if we can turn from your cold day and my day with kids at home, which is the beginning of many, so we each have our crosses to bear, if we can turn those two things into a positive.
Yes, a little glimpse behind the curtain there for regular listeners that today we are under real time pressure, not just the pressure that is elicited by our timer, which I have just set off.
And I am struggling. I am having to do without because my internet is suffering today. So this is the kind of suffering that I'm undergoing today, so that I can perhaps connect with the everyman.
Yeah. If we occasionally interrupt each other today, it's because we can't actually see each other on screen. We're doing this old school and just recording it based entirely on vocals. So do excuse any. Actually, funnily enough, I saw a show last night in the West End that is all about two people making a podcast. It's called Kathy and Stella Solve a Murder, and it's about two kind of true crime podcasters in the north of England who end up, spoiler alert, solving a true crime. And it's very funny. And there is a scene where they attempt to do a remote recording and have lots of delays and interruptions, and made me think fondly of Two Across. So there we go. Right, let's dive in, Rob. Let's do this.
Yes. They solve crimes, we solve crosswords.
Yeah, big time.
So let's start with 5 across. Lively like a Heinz tin. It is 4 letters, 2 letters, 5 letters. This is one of your multiple worders, Theo, and I think there's a few in this crossword just scanning it. So you'll be happy. This is a nice sandbox for you.
I do love me a multiple worder, although not this one because it's not coming straight away.
I think it's a very kind of American expression because I believe it is full of beans.
Oh, of course. Well, that's also a British expression, so I should have got that. Yeah, well done.
Oh,
well done.
That's a transatlantic one because I'm pretty sure we would say full of beans. There's also the great American expression that it ain't worth a hill of beans.
Oh, yeah. No, that is all American. I mean, how can you have a hill of beans? That's just insane, surely.
It's a lot of beans.
Unless you grow beans on a hill? I don't know.
Maybe. They need the solar exposure to reach full apogee of beanishness.
Should we move straight into another multiple worder, which is 6 down?
Yes, sir. What do we got?
It's clarify or explain, 452, and are full of beans means that it begins with an S. So
yes,
clarify or explain. Spell. No.
That's 5.
Yeah.
Well, 5 down I spied, and 5 down looks like something that we could hit.
Okay.
Quite readily. And it is a 1994 Tom Hanks role, also a multiple worder, 7-4.
Yeah.
So I think
beginning with F, and we won't insult our cultured listeners by telling them what that is.
Farley Mowat.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
It is indeed.
You never know which one you're going to get, which of course is a terrible analogy because you do know which one you're going to get in a box of chocolates because they usually have an accompanying card which explains. Sorry, Forrest Gump's mum.
The woman sitting hands crossed beside Forrest on the bench should have mentioned that and said, I'm sorry, but your mother's metaphor for life is poor.
Maybe a specific kind of... There is a sweet over here, which is, I think it might be Revels, where you genuinely don't know what you're going to get because you might get a raisin or you might get some other core to this chocolate sweet. Maybe it's not Revels. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, but that is genuinely potluck. You don't know what you're going to get. So,
right.
She could have used that as an analogy. But anyway, let's move past this
particular box of chocolates because we have many to open. In fact, you could argue that a crossword is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
You just never know what we're going to get here. So far, we've had beans and Forrest Gump.
Actually, that is a better analogy. Life is like a crossword. You never know which clues you're going to get.
You don't. I'm going to suggest today, so tomorrow, my middle child has a math exam. And last night, my wife said to him, she said, this is the way to tackle this. It's a very long exam, and you've had challenges sometimes getting them finished because you sort of get bogged down in the difficult ones. So scan the entire test. Take the ones that you know you can get, hammer them out, and then work progressively towards the difficult ones. So I'm going to suggest that we do the same thing with this crossword and just pick off the low-hanging fruit.
Well said.
And I think 2 down, so we're moving from a silver screen role played by Tom Hanks to a snack that one might have enjoyed while watching Forrest Gump, which is 2 down, 7 letters, a cinema snack, second letter is O.
And it's, of course, popcorn. Can I do a similar thing? Can I move to 4 down, which I think is also a fairly gaping open goal, to use a football metaphor, considering we're about to start the Euro Championships over here?
We are too.
4 down, World War II Japanese pilot, 8 letters, second letter A, is surely a kamikaze.
You would think so. Also a very good roll of sushi.
Now, is it kamikaze or is it kamikaze?
That's an excellent question. Like kamikaze. See, I wrote it kamikaze immediately because that's sort of how we pronounce it. But I do wonder if it's not an A. Well, when we're looking at 8 across, which is going to confirm or infirm that letter, why don't we keep that open as an I or an A in our heads, not get fixed. Let's stay in the negative capability and accept that ambiguity.
Yeah.
The 44th U.S. president, Theo, that's 3 down.
Oh, no. Oh, no, that's good. It's the good one. It's the good one. It's not the bad one.
It's the good one.
Okay.
It's not the 45th American
Not
president.
45. It's so annoying he got 45. Anyway, yes,
true.
it is, of course, his forerunner, Mr. Obama.
Yeah. Because I thought 44 immediately, and you think, oh, God, that's going to be in the 1800s. And then it's like, well, no, not actually. America hasn't really had a lot of presidents.
Yeah, that's true, actually. That's not that... I mean, we've had more prime ministers in the last 5 years than presidents in the last 10. So...
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, probably in the last 30, the way we've been getting through them. Right, 8 across. The clue is me, perhaps. 8 letters. Begins with C.
Yeah.
And then has a third letter of M. And a fifth letter, potentially, of either A, I, or E, depending on how we're spelling kamikaze.
Sir. Well, now that is interesting.
Have you got any guesses?
I haven't. So I was looking at it first and I thought, is the crossword setter breaking the fourth wall and bringing attention to themselves?
Ooh.
Themself. I suppose they only have one self in the gender neutral formulation. But, or is it me perhaps in the way that one would think of oneself? So for instance, he's a, I don't know, or they, sorry. What am I assuming that the crossword setter is a man? That's just wrong.
That is wrong. Something that would fit, but I don't think fits the clue, potentially, is compadre.
Oh. Here's another one, though. If they are breaking the fourth wall, it could be a compiler.
Oh, do you know what? That is, I think, a brilliant guess. That is wonderfully meta. And would mean...
I wonder...
It would mean our kamikaze letter was I, which I think works. I think makes sense.
Okay. Well, let's keep that as a potential.
Yeah.
Let's light pen that one.
Light pen, yeah.
And see if we can get some others that maybe go across our 6 down. And this is obviously challenging for people who can't see that, but you can always follow us on the crossword by going to the Guardian Quick Crosswords and looking at crossword number 16,880 if you'd like to play along at home. So, Theo, 11 is jump over or strong room, and it's 5 letters. Second letter is an A.
So, what's a strong room? I've never come across
a strong
that
room
as a thing.
isn't that sort of like a stronghold, like it's an impenetrable place?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what a strong room is.
Strong room. I'm not seeing that.
I'm not
initially.
either. I mean, like a strong box is a safe, right? So like they have those panic rooms.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm not seeing it. Jump over, like leap.
Panic would actually fit, but that doesn't mean jump over, does it? So
No, it does not.
okay, let's keep moving around. I like this one. I think you will too. 18 across.
Yes.
American policy from 1920 to 1933. 11 letters beginning with P. Is that our old friend protectionism?
Oh my gosh. No, it doesn't fit.
Right.
But you're right. Protectionism would have been great.
Oh no. I'm out there and I haven't got any other guesses.
No.
What was Oh, prohibition, Rob.
Oh, of course. Well
Yeah.
done, Theo.
Yeah.
Yes. Because when one thinks policy, one thinks international.
Yeah.
But of course, that was a domestic policy. So
Yeah.
thank you for thinking of that in a different way. Here, Theo, this is a great one. I like this one a lot. 10 across, or 10 down, sorry.
Yeah.
It's another multiple worder, and it is an event which provokes lycanthropy.
Oh.
So a lycanthrope, it combines the, I think, Latin root word for, I think, dog or wolf, and throp, as in anthrop,
Like the study
human.
of?
Yeah, well, throp, because anthropology. So,
Yeah.
it's like anthrop, which is werewolfism.
Oh, Rob, you genius.
So
a werewolf?
The event that provokes it. Yeah, a lycanthrope is a werewolf.
But is werewolf 2 words? Because it's...
No. The event which provokes lycanthropy. So what is it that brings about an episode of
wolf
lycanthropy?
Howl? No?
No, come on. You've watched enough Harry Potter, Theo.
Oh, full moon. Oh, God. Okay, that was... Yeah. Sorry, it got there in the end. Stumbled around.
I think I took it too deep into the weeds of the etymology of lycanthropy.
Yeah, you did sort of run me around the full perimeter.
Primrose path.
Yes, indeed, around all these sections of the garden there. But we got there in the end. Now I've got another banker, which is 17 down.
Yes, sir.
Bridal adornment, 4 letters, 3rd letter I. Must be a veil. And
yes,
continuing our election theme, the 17 across is cast a ballot, 4 letters beginning with V. So that obviously is vote.
Yeah.
So okay,
Nice.
we're beginning to sort of stumble our way to about half of the clues in place.
Time check.
Time check, 15 minutes. So yeah, we're
All right.
about on track.
All right. Well, we got to start moving. I've got one at 16 across, which I'm hoping you will get, but I am looking at it blankly. So it is rehearsal, 5 letters, 3 letters. For the first 5-letter word, the second letter is a U, and the fourth is an M. So it's space U, space M, space, and then 3 letters in the next word.
So yeah, that's an interesting one. I would have thought the second word is probably run. Something run.
Yeah, one would think so. But it's this space U, space M, space that's really messing me up, because
Yeah.
what goes there? Like,
We might have to come back to that, Rob.
I think we may, Theo. Well, take us somewhere next.
Okay, I've got one we can definitely get. 7 across,
Yep.
4 letters, and the clue is co-designer of the monument in London. Second letter R. That's
Was it Isambard Kingdom Brunel?
he wouldn't go near a monument. He
No,
was
he
a
wouldn't.
pure bridge man.
Far too unutilitarian.
Absolutely. God, what would you want a monument for? You can't, transport anything on a monument. That's Wren, Christopher Wren.
Christopher Wren. Nice.
That gives 9 across. Actually, that gives nothing to 9 across, but nevertheless, we could go and look at it anyway. It's carry out, 7
Yep.
letters. And we have a second letter of E, 4th letter of F, and a 6th letter of R.
Yes.
Carry out. So, like, I'm thinking like you sort of execute an order type
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah. And we're not going to get any more letters on this, so we need to get
We're
it based
not.
on what we have. Carry out.
Yeah, it's a little bit challenging, this one, eh?
I can get one that we have also got all the letters on, and that's 1 down,
Yep, I saw
which
that
is pizzazz, 4 letters, second letter L, 4th letter N. Elan?
too. I think so.
Yeah?
An old brand of French skis, as I recall, from the 80s. Someone used to buy a pair of Elan skis.
Oh, yes, these are my Elans. That was
Some
an
Elan.
awful French accent.
I put them on my feet when I'm about to do some ski ballet.
with maximum pizzazz. Yeah,
Maximum pizzazz. I was looking. Have you gone back and done like a time machine on ski ballet? The other day, I was talking with the kids and they were saying, what was ski ballet? And so I went on YouTube and found a bunch of clips of the Albertville, like 1994
Beautiful.
Olympics or whatever, which looks incredibly dated, by the way. But
I see your ski ballet and I raise you dog ballet. I wholly recommend. Check out, just put into YouTube, Crufts dog dancing, and you will see the most astonishing thing you've ever seen in your life. That's all I'm going to say.
Are you training Zeus up, Theo, in your free time?
Oh, bless him. I'd love to see him try, but there is absolutely no way. Yeah, these. I mean, it's so bizarre. I can't begin to describe it in words. It just has to
Crufts
be
dogs dancing.
Crufts dog dance, and they get prizes for it. It's like figure. It's the figure skating of the canine world. If you can imagine such a thing.
One hopes there's no Tanya Harding in there that's gonna, beat out the most beautiful poodle with a cudgel.
Oh dear old Tonya. Yeah, probably a sort of some kind of German Shepherd that just snaps and decides to eat the competition. Right, I've got another banker to drag us back to the crossword. It's 13 across, ring of coral islands, 5 letters, second letter T, fourth letter L is surely an atoll.
Surely, like the famed Bikini Atoll.
Indeed.
Which both got blown to smithereens and led to the rise of a great form of women's summer wear.
I'm still not seeing this rehearsal, which is concerning.
Well, let's get some letters. Here's one that suggests that your run is right, which is 15 down, characteristic, 5 letters, second last letter or penultimate letter is an I, and I believe that would be a trait.
Oh, yeah, nice. Okay.
So that gives us and then what about 12 down here, Theo?
Oh, I think I've got it. It must be dummy run.
Oh, nice one. Dummy run.
Which is I mean, that's an odd expression that I don't think would get used very often, but nevertheless, it works for the crossword, so.
Is that sort of like a fun run where you hold a child's pacifier in your mouth?
Oh no, that sounds weird.
Yeah, with a rubber duck floaty around your waist.
Yeah, that's no doubt that is happening somewhere in the world.
Yeah. So we have a boot sole protector now, 12 down. It is 7 letters long, fourth letter N, penultimate letter I, and it is a boot sole protector. I'm thinking
one.
because there's overshoes and galoshes, but neither of those fit.
I've got it. I think this is very old word. A very old word. I think it's hobnail.
Wow, like hobnail boots.
Yeah.
Wow, lovely.
Because the hobnail went into the sole of the shoe, didn't it? And then you effectively kind of walked on the nails.
Yes.
As a way of protecting the sole. So, yeah.
Keeping you above the murk on the streets and the horse apples.
Now, I think that also means 14 across is gettable because the clue is rhombus-throat remedy. Now,
right.
I don't know about rhombus here. I don't really know what that means. But throat remedy, my guess, considering it has a second letter of O, could that be lozenge?
Yes, and that is excellent, Theo. I was scratching my head because I couldn't think of the throat remedy, but a rhombus is a sort of similar to a parallelogram, and it is called a lozenge.
Oh,
so
beautiful bit of francophilia there. Excellent.
Francophilia. That's when you like to have sex with half-man reconstituted monsters from Shelley books.
Yes, a very niche fetish. I think we can agree.
Extremely. It requires a lot of electricity.
Yes. What's that sci-fi phrase you like to get into? every other episode. Temporal vortex, possibly.
Yeah, you would need one to go back to the 19th century.
Yes.
When people were doing that sort of thing,
Indeed.
mesmerism and raiding cemeteries to create bionic humans.
Wow. There's a little side chat I didn't expect to get into today. But nevertheless, this is Two Across, and anything is possible.
Including francophilia.
So we now are in a very familiar... We're in a familiar territory where we have 3 clues left to get, and we have the luxury of 6 minutes to get them. But we know from history that this does not mean we can afford to be complacent, because we've got some toughies here. We've still got our 6 down, which is clarify or explain, 452. And we know that ends in an N, and it starts in an S, and we have other letters in between, but I can't really be bothered to go through them all.
The G has given us something. So your lozenge has given us G space T in the 5-letter words that's the middle of this, which one has to imagine is GHT. And then one, which suggests that may be an R, like right. So something right, and then space N. So it's just for listeners. It's 4 letters, 5 letters, 2 letters. First word. Sorry, 4. Yeah, that's right. First word, 4 letters, starting with S. Second word, 5 letters, space, G, space, T. And the last word is space N. So it could be something right in or something right on.
I mean, all I can think there with the first word beginning with S is could it be sets right on? I mean, that just doesn't work.
No, I don't love it either. Well, jump over or Strongroom, it would now be space A, space R, potentially space.
Oh, I just feel like we're going to end up in... Well, we have ended up in this situation again where
we have
a couple of really tough ones are going to completely stymie us. Now, just as a little reminder to listeners, we are currently 11 all in our overall scores.
We are.
This is a biggie today, because it will dictate whether we lose the lead after a number of episodes having enjoyed it, or whether we can pull something out the bag and get ourselves ahead. So let's focus on this.
Oh, those halcyon days of spring, Theo, when we were full of the green fuse rising up inside of us, and crosswords were literally just falling into our lap, and now we've returned to the struggles.
Zeus is really snoring up a storm, by the way, in whether that's in support or condemnation, I'm not sure, but
maybe he's suggesting that we're putting too much pressure. We have to just lie back, relax a bit, reflect, and it will come to us.
It's subliminal Shih Tzu messaging. That's what this is.
It is. Which is what they brought to the Buddhist monks whose feet they warmed while they were meditating, right? If the origin of the Shih Tzu that you were telling me is accurate.
We have no time for such meditations. We have 3.5 minutes, which is roughly a minute per clue.
Okay. Do you want to tag?
Yeah, let's divvy them up.
Which one's making you feel something?
I'll have a go at this carry out 7 across.
Okay.
Oh, Zeus.
I'll look at jump over.
Yeah, fine. Carry out. This is fascinating listening for everyone, isn't it? As we
highly.
I think carry out could end in furl, like unfurl.
Yeah.
But I don't see a word that other than that could go there. So no, I'm gonna have to rethink that. Oh.
Okay. Jump over.
Oh, I've got it. I've got carry out.
What is it?
Perform.
Oh, excellent. Oh, so yeah. It's sometimes just the letters you get deform. So I've filled in everything else, and none of it makes a lot of sense, but I've just done it because I can't think of anything else to do. So
Yeah.
compiler for 8 across, we thought that could work for the crossword writer. Now, that makes 6 down, step right in work for clarify or explain. Step right in. And then 11 across, jump over or strongroom could be carry. Carry.
Yeah.
Again.
Okay. I mean, they all fit as letters. I've never heard carry as
me neither.
strong room, but
No, neither have I. And step right in, I feel like that's a leap.
that is a carry.
That's a carry, yeah.
Over that one. I mean, I don't think step right in. I'm just going to step right in and clarify this for you. You might say, but I don't think you would use step right in to mean clarify. However, so we've got a minute left, or just under a minute. Let's just sort of play around with this, because we've taken it as assumption that it is GHT. Could it be like G? Could there be a vowel in there? Is there anything that works in there? To give that second word something different, I don't know.
Because it could be something, I still think it's GHT. I mean, it's something, I think it's something it could be right on, like to set someone right on something, or to
See, I don't hate sets right on, but it also doesn't really, it doesn't fit with compiler, and we haven't really got the time to, okay, we've got 10 seconds left. Should we just go with step right in and carry?
And carry, yeah.
Okay, there it is. 30 minutes is done. Now, I think is the word for this. Because
let's check compiler first.
Yeah, good idea. Let's ease ourselves in.
Okay, it's right.
Yeah, it is right. Okay. This bodes well.
Well, it doesn't bode terribly. So that's so the crossword setter did break the fourth wall, everybody. They are revealing themselves as a human actor in this world. These crosswords were not just given by some divine voice.
So should we check carry next?
I suppose. I was thinking Castle Carry.
I'm afraid it's wrong.
It's wrong, and the R's wrong too.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, you know what?
Let's show what it is. Oh, it's Vault. It's Vault, of course.
Okay. Shed light on.
Oh, shed light on Rob.
Because a vault gives, as soon as you have the L, shed.
Yeah, that
light.
is. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, that's poor.
Yeah.
We should have got both of those quite comfortably.
It is poor. We should have.
We should have shed light on that answer by getting Vault. Vault, that's staring at us, Rob.
It is.
Oh,
vaulting.
How annoying.
And we vaulted right over
Anyway, there we go. So we're now 11-12 behind. Which
because I was thinking a strong room was a safe or whatever, and I just vault. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I was thinking. I liked your thought about a panic room. I have a panic room anecdote actually. If you'll permit me, we are going to have to keep our post crossword thoughts quite brief, but I will share this. I once worked in an office that was based above a West End theatre. Called the Palace Theatre in the middle of the West End, and it was the location of the former offices of the Really Useful Group, which is Andrew Lloyd Webber's company, because they own the Palace Theatre. Now, when we moved into the office, there was this sort of strange room in the corner, which was effectively a kind of turret, and we used it as our stationery cupboard. And we didn't really think much about it. It had a weirdly sort of thick door on it, this room, but we just used it as a cupboard for many years and didn't really think about it. And then one day, somebody came into the office and said, "Oh, I used to work here back in the 1980s." And did you know that that was a panic room back then?
Really?
And we were like, what? Why on earth would you need a panic room? And it was because Prince Edward had once worked for the Really Useful Group way back in the 80s. He did some work with Andrew Lloyd Webber and clearly spent some time in the office, and because of that they had to install this panic room. And it just struck me as bizarre, the idea that if an incident had occurred where this office had been suddenly attacked by people wanting to get to Prince Edward, the idea that shutting him in this sort of slightly shonky stationery cupboard with a reinforced door would in any way make that situation better for him. I found that quite a curious idea, and very sort of 1980s. But I guess these things still exist. Panic rooms are a thing, and fair enough. If that's
fair enough.
That's what is felt is necessary. Anyway, there endeth my panic room anecdotes. So,
and that severely curtails your movements if everywhere that you're likely to frequent has to have such rooms installed in it. I mean, it's like where are you intending to spend time this year? Because in each of those places, we have to invest £20,000 in preparing a hidey hole for you in case the IRA comes.
Yep, and that is why we should be trimming down the royal family. But nevertheless, I mean, you feel sorry for him in that scenario as well, that it must be incredibly awkward that not only is you working for the Really Useful Group the cause of much gossip, as it was at the time, but also your presence facilitates the need for this ludicrous sort of extra bit of infrastructure. But anyway, how's the week looking for you, Rob? What's on your horizon?
So I am going Friday I'm going on a writing retreat for a week, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, so I joined a sort of weekly writing group here that meets up at a local library, and actually on Theo's urging, because Theo has something similar and had vaunted, not vaulted, but vaunted the benefits of having such a group. And so I've been doing that for a few months, and then someone said, are you joining the retreat this year? And I said, I didn't know you did that. Long and the short is they do, and I am. And it's up north of Montreal near Mont Tremblant, which, Theo, I believe you have visited. And in the summer,
Indeed.
That area is liberally festooned with small, nice lakes, unfortunately, that I won't be able to swim in, but lots of cottages on said lakes. So a cottage has been rented, and a bunch of people are going to go there to write for a week, amongst them me. So yeah, that's my next week. This has been my thing I've been looking forward to for a few months, of a getaway purely for myself. So
that sounds
that's
heavenly.
what I'm doing.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a member of a writing group called Write Club over here, which was just three of us, me and a couple of other parents from the school. And we're not doing it at the moment, partly because I am afflicted by writer's block, so I felt I didn't have much to contribute to our sessions. But the whole point of it was just that we meet up and write together rather than sharing work or giving each other deadlines. We really just wanted to sort of babysit each other to write, because we all know how easy it is just to sit and stare at the blank page and quickly find excuses not to write, but to do anything but.
Yep.
And so it's an effective thing, or it was an effective thing for a while, and helped me to finish the draft of a book that subsequently didn't really go anywhere, but nevertheless I was pleased to have done it. As my grandmother once said sagely, she said, "I don't want to write, I want to have written," which I think is a very very eloquent way of sort of capturing that idea that we all want the book on the shelf, but the process of sort of getting it there can be a painful one. Anyway, that sounds great, and I look forward to hearing about that on the other side. And
yeah. And yourself, what's the next few days holding?
Just sort of lots more social events, but most excitingly of all, and I can talk about this because the episode will go out after it's happened.
Ooh.
But my daughter's the world's actually I was about to say she's the world's biggest Taylor Swift fan. There's quite a lot of competition in that bracket. But my wife, God bless her, has finally caved and managed to source a pair of tickets to Taylor Swift's concert in Liverpool. Was the only place that the sort of Venn diagram of price and date managed to converge. So she's taking it there on Saturday night, and
amazing.
My daughter doesn't know about this yet, so we're keeping it up our sleeves, and we're gonna spring it on her as a great surprise. But she's gonna lose her mind. I mean, as you know,
no doubt,
Swift has essentially conquered half of the earth, if not the entire earth, with her juggernaut of a world tour. So yes, my daughter and wife will be going off to do that. So I'm quite excited just to sort of bask in the general excitement and energy of that. That will be nice. Meanwhile, me and my son, actually I'm hosting my pub quiz team that night, because we're going to celebrate our winnings to date.
Very nice.
I'm in a regular pub quiz team, and we've been accruing a bit of cash over the last year or so. So we're going to spend it all on one evening of revelry and Euros 2024 entertainment. I think it's Italy versus Albania or something on Saturday night. So we're going to watch that.
Perfect.
So yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. But
nice.
As I've said before, it just feels like there's a lot going on at the moment. Oh, the other thing I wanted to share, just as a final little anecdote, was we had some American cousins visit us on Sunday, this last Sunday. And as I mentioned in the last episode, we went to the Lambeth Country Show, which takes place in Brockwell Park, near where we live. And bless them, my American cousins turned up fully expecting a full country show. They thought we lived out in the sticks. They thought they were going to, this was going to be sort of ploughing competitions and cider drinking and all of that. I mean, there was cider drinking, but I think this sort of barrage of reggae music and
jerk chicken and
jerk chicken and red stripe lager was not quite what they'd been expecting. I mean, we did have a good time, but yeah, that was quite sweet, I thought. Anyway, they've gone back to San Fran now, and I hope we may be able to reciprocate and have a visit over there sometime, because I've never been and have heard generally good things. Although when you speak, anyway, I'm not going to get into the sort of the changing fortunes of San Francisco as a final thought, because that feels like a stretch for someone who's never been there, and also too big a topic. But
indeed.
Anyway, it was interesting to hear their thoughts on that city and how it has changed in recent times.
Yeah, I've done a lot of reading, and there's a lot of like different perspectives, one of just inevitable decline and one of renaissance. So it's definitely interesting, maybe fodder, especially one day if you make your way out to San Francisco to see it with your own eyes.
Yeah, I really would like to see it, and just to get a sense of America at the moment, which does seem to be going through a bit of an existential crisis, I think, as a nation, in a way that we have been wrestling with ourselves here. Perhaps, this is not a uniquely American phenomenon. It just happens to be afflicting the world's foremost superpower, which is having ramifications for the rest of us. But yeah.
Yep.
Again, too big a topic, really, considering I now have to go and pick up the children.
Fair enough. Well, as they say, when the parents start fighting, it messes with the kids. Maybe that's part of what's happening in the world right now. But maybe I'll leave it at that for the time being.
Indeed. All right. Well, yes. Try not to be warring parents. Try to be, good people, kind people. Do nice things. Focus on the small stuff, and all of that. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. And if you're ever feeling blue, pick yourself up a crossword, or better yet, listen to an episode of Two Across.
Hear, hear.
And you have been listening to Two Across, an original podcast by Theo Bozenket and Rob Cole. We value your opinion, and we'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback for us on the pod or any thoughts, any reactions to the clues, or our terrible crosswording, you can reach us on twoacrosspod@gmail.com. That's twoacrosspod spelt out, or at twoacrosspod, again spelt out, on the platform formerly known as Twitter. And of course, always, if you want to support the podcast, we invite you to like, subscribe, share with a friend, or just play on full blast at your house at midnight with the windows open and introduce it to your neighbors. Thank you very much, and see you next time.